Hey everyone, Charles here. And first of all, thank you for stopping by my podcast. If this show inspires you, makes you think, or gives you that courage to jump into action, please help by donating to this show. Click the link in the description and donate. Your donation helps us with production and finding great guests moving forward. Thank you and enjoy.
You know you should be doing something different, right? Hey, I'm talking to you. Do you believe that you have the gift for greatness or have a special talent, but don't have the courage to take that next step? Always wondering how others made it look so easy? Well, welcome to Jump, the show that will bring you special guests just like you and me. How did they get the courage to jump into greatness? Doing what they love and living the good life. So, get ready to jump with your host, Charles Matthews Jr.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the show. Welcome to the Jump. If this is your first time here, Jump is all about getting into greatness, getting to that next level. I'm not talking about jump up and down. I'm talking about getting to the edge and jump into success. And to do that, I bring you fantastic guests from all around. And I think today's guest is going to be fun, interesting, and help you out. So please welcome to the show.
Hey, everyone.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
So where are you calling in from?
So I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. I've been here for a little while.
So that means you're not dealing with the snow right now. You're not dealing with the cold weather. Tell me what's the weather like right now?
It is fairly cold, but and it has snowed. It doesn't stick that often. But it's pretty cold outside. It's probably it's cold to me because I have disabilities from being in the military. So I have screws in both legs and just joint issues. So 50, 60 is cold. When it gets to 30 and it's time to snow, I'm over it.
Man, I'm thinking I'm waiting to hear the good one. We're like minus 17 right now, and she's like 50, 60. Like.
Well, I went to Iraq for a while, and that temperature is very hot. And then I lived in Phoenix for about 2 years, and that temperature is very hot. So cold is a little bit different now.
Okay. So you say, give us your background then. So born and raised, where are you from?
So originally I'm from Dayton, Ohio. I lived there until I was 17. I lived with my mom off and on, but we didn't have the greatest relationship. So I lived with my grandmother for a while before eventually being essentially homeless and joining the Army. So I got into a lot of fights. I got kicked out of school when I was about 17. My mother got mad at me for failing a midterm or something. And she kind of attacked me. We got into a verbal altercation. She told me some horrible things. And I was like, well, I'm a reflection of you. And she literally tried to kill me, beat my head on the ground. My friend said my eyes was rolling in the back of my head. Really crazy story. Some man in a white Cadillac jumped out and saved me. That led to her taking me out of school, kicking me out. And that eventually led to me joining the Army. I went and stayed with a cousin. One of her, somebody at her house was like, hey, I want you to go to the Army with me. And I was like, go to the Army. And it really it was like a seed that was like planted. And I was like, well, I'll think about it. And they had kind of convinced me to do it. Mm-hmm. But the other person never ended up going. I was the only one that went. So, but it was a blessing to me. So I ended up getting my GED and going to the Army at 17. My first duty station was in Korea. After that, I went to Kansas. I went to Iraq. And then when I got back from Iraq, I got out of the military and moved to Atlanta. I've been in Atlanta since then, but I lived in Florida for a while. I lived in Phoenix, Arizona, and I just love Atlanta. It's no place like it to be Black and have some type of financial substance. I don't want to say I'm not wealthy, but to be as a disabled veteran, I am not doing horrible. Right. So, and when I lived in Florida, it was kind of weird. Like people look at you, stare at you real hard. But here in Atlanta, it's just common to have nice things for Black people. So it's the most comfortable place. It's like comfortable with a little bit of anxiety because it's still the South. But it's
yeah. So let me backtrack that in your story, because okay, one, this person that convinced you that didn't go. When you came out, did you say, "Yo, what's up? What happened to you?"
No. Okay, so the lifestyle that I was living, I come from not I'm not like from super poverty or anything like that. My mother worked at GM, my dad worked at GM. They just didn't see eye to eye. Their birthdays was like next to each other. So, they like one of those, like you have a child or meet somebody like this, is probably gonna be a special child because I mean, like, how could you not? So that kind of just led to me being on my own. So when after my mother tried to kill me, I was like lost. I started reading the Bible a lot. I was just trying to find myself, because like when your mother attacks you, it's like very overwhelming. It makes you a little bit lost and confused. But so I found my place, and so that allowed me to focus on what I was going to do with myself, because I don't have, what other kids have at 17. So when it came down to after she introduced me to the ideal, she was never going to the appointments when I was making she wasn't doing nothing out. But the ideal was planted in me. So now I'm thinking like, okay, this might be a good ideal. They pay for this, they pay for that. You get benefits long term. And at 17, it just made sense. I was like, okay, well, if I go now, I can retire at 37. Like, I was like, okay, I'm calculating. I'm like, and I've always been like a nerd. Like, I used to fight a lot, but I was a nerd. Like, it was like I was a defense mechanism of sorts. So, the calculations made sense. And I remember I was sitting talking to a guy at the time, and he was like, well, what if you go to war? And I'm thinking like, I ain't gonna go to war. I'll be all right. Like, I can get shot around here. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least I'm risking it for something.
And so they give me a legal gun, so it's all good.
Right. At least I'm doing it for a cause. So and I really did like weapons. I had cousins that was in the streets that would have weapons, and I used to want to shoot them. And now I think about it, because I used to be like, man, they wouldn't let me, but they were protecting me. My cousins really did a lot to protect me from that. But I was around it, so it was interesting to me. So it was, all of the factors made sense. And no, I never, if anything, I'm thankful for the person, because they planted that seed, and it's kind of like a look at me now. It's where I would have gone to without this is a little bit more questionable now.
So at the end of the day, let's backtrack again. So you're going to these meetings, you're getting more serious. At this point, are you talking back with mom? Are you guys having these discussions about you leaving? What's the feelings?
We were kind of talking, like I had to talk to her because, I was trying to get back into school. Like, she really wouldn't even sign me up to get back into school. Her friend that I lived with at the time signed my paper for me to go and get my GED. Like, my mother was just like, she was not helpful. She it was like she wished the worst. It was like she was preparing me for the worst. Like, she wasn't being like, okay, well, if you're serious, I'm going, even if I wasn't serious, put me in school and let me give it a fair shot. So when all of those things happened, I didn't have a choice. Like, my choices were slim, and it just, she wasn't helpful. She really liked to, she didn't want to sign the papers for me to go. I had to convince her of that, because she had to sign the paper because I was 17 and say my dad kind of abandoned me. My dad didn't know I was going until the day I left. And he was like, well, why didn't you just come to me? And I was like, considering the situation or what I've heard or experienced, I wasn't sure that was an open door. And, so she wasn't really for it, but I convinced her. I was like, you're not helping me no way. Like, I was stealing my child support checks from her because she was like getting $400. And I was like, I'm not with you. So why is you getting it? And then she was like, she was just hating.
But after you gone in now, the world is different now. You've gone in. Did you go in at 17?
Yes.
So you actually went in at 17.
I was 17. I graduated basic training on my 18th birthday, November 30th of 2000.
Wow. Okay. So now you're in it. Tell us what the world feels like at 18 in the Army.
It didn't feel any type of way. It was a new experience. I didn't know what to expect. Or the things that I expected was like for them to be yelling and fussing and, the things you see on the movies. Mm-hmm. And it really wasn't that. In basic training at 17, after your mother tried to kill you and, you on the street, like, it's kind of like, what do I got to lose? My brother was in a jail at the time and he was writing me like, you made my mama cry. And I'm thinking like, you're not even hearing about that. So she didn't lie and told everybody all these crazy things. So I didn't have any family support. Like, people was like, all right, like, I'm gonna talk to you, but it wasn't supportive like that. So I was just in a new experience. But growing up, I used to go on college tours. So it was kind of like going on one of those college tours again, like where you go for a weekend or whatever, and you meet new people and you do different things, but it was just long term.
Makes sense. So at the end of the day, the feelings you have, you're going in new, fresh. What was it like? Did you write back? Did you say anything back to them and say, like, after you were in there, did you squash what you had to squash? How was the feelings?
I mean, I almost want to say I didn't like my mother for a long time. Like, I didn't really F with her at all. And it took a long time, but I would communicate for the sake of communicating. And, but most of the time, I don't think I was calling nobody. I was calling friends, homeboys, like people I knew from the street, because you got to remember, she tried to kill me. She kicked me out. She lied to my whole family and told her and because I used to fight a lot, I think it made it believable that, I just would go out, but I would never fight my mom. Like, I'm fighting people on the street, but,
right.
I did protect myself though. I did kind of, put her in a headlock, trying to get her to stop because she's attacking me.
Yeah.
And we fell to the ground, but she started beating my head on the concrete. Then my friend was there with me and she put her foot up under my head. And then she like swung at my friend. It was like, it was like something you see in a movie, but you would never imagine like is really being experienced in real life. Like, and then she started strangling me. My friend said literally my eyes was rolling in the back of my head. So at that point, and I went and talked to my aunt, my great uncle, and they like, well, what do you want us to do? They kind of just sided with her because in the family, once you become the black sheep, they go with whoever is the, whoever we like at the moment, you know what I'm saying? Even if you know that they do wrong stuff, even because a lot of my mother's friends used to always say like, why ain't she teaching you this? Or, she just wasn't around like that. I used to ride my bike when I was a kid. I used to be 20, 30 miles outside of where I lived at, just roaming. So I guess the explorative nature of my soul, it didn't make going to the Army like something that was timid. Like, it's crazy how timid I feel now in my life, because then I wasn't scared of anything. I was thinking about this the other day. I used to, when I first moved to Atlanta, I would meet people and go to their house and, just be, and now I'm like, go to somebody's house. I don't know if they're going to try to kill me or what. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy.
You're like, listen, I did one headlock. That's it. I ain't no need no more. So,
I used to fight a lot in elementary school, and in middle school, I didn't want to fight no more. And then I got into a couple of fights, and then high school, kids instigate stuff. So people like, yeah, somebody said they want to fight you. I'm like, they want to fight me? Like, who?
Yeah.
Like, well, let's go fight.
It's like,
And
do they
so
know do they know who they talking to? No.
And it really wasn't like that. So the day I got expelled, I got into an accident. I went to school to fight somebody that I used to hang with that was talking trash, and I got into an accidental fight. And I accidentally got into a fight with somebody because they thought that I was going to hit them. Like, I don't know. They was defensive. Like I was defensive because I would never let somebody hit me first. So
somebody blinked and that was it.
Yeah. Basically. So that fight, and the person she was a boxer, so she kind of got the best of me. But I had went to school that day to fight the girl that I went to fight. So I got expelled.
Hold on. So this was a warm-up fight to your fight?
Basically, kind of. That's what it kind of ended up turning into. Like, it wasn't purposely done though. That was I did not mean to get in that fight. That was like on accident. The girl just was like, ugh, and it was crazy. But the second fight, I really went to school to fight. Like, I was dressed to fight. I knew I was gonna fight.
Oh my. Okay, hold on. All right. I have to ask this question. You said you were dressed to fight. So what did you take out your closet and put on? Because you said you were dressed to fight. What did you put on?
So normally you wear your good clothes at school. You're trying to impress everybody. You wear your Tommy. At that time, you wear your Tommy. You getting clean. And that day, I think I put on like some sweatpants, like just any old shirt. Like I had on fight shoes. Like I think I had on my blue and white Jordans.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, if you see Doctor coming in track pants and not looking cute, just walk away.
Well, no, see, and now I dress for comfort more than I do for style. So, I like to be comfortable most times. And I like the perception of getting to know people when they think that I don't have anything, or when they think, people treat you different when you dressed up versus when they just think that you
prejudge.
Mm-hmm. So, over the years, it has taught me a lot about people, dealing with people. Like if I go in just some regular clothes and I'm not trying to be fancy, then they might look or treat me different. And then they realize that I'm somebody special, then they be like, damn, I didn't, blew that. And so it made me take a different approach. And I really enjoy that approach because it allows for me to really see people, because people put on airs all the time. But if they just think that you average, then, they'll be normal in most cases.
All right. So usually I ask this question at the end of my podcast, but, I like the way the story's going. So I want to ask it to you now before you get into the next chapter of your life. Okay. If you can go back and talk to the 17-year-old girl, what would you say to her now?
I would just encourage her to trust her instincts. I would encourage her to walk the path strongly. I actually am a person that think about stuff like this all the time, because I like to reflect to see where I've come from. So I wouldn't want to change anything, because I know if you change even one small detail, getting up too early, going to sleep too late, meeting a person that, you thought, it can change everything. And I love where my life is now, despite the challenges. So I would tell her to trust herself, to never question herself. If I did that more, and some things I wouldn't have encountered, but I don't regret the encounter. So that would be the only thing. I think that I handled myself well going to the military, and not getting caught up in drama, and maintaining who I am for the most part, and just evolving as a person.
Okay. So let's do it, and let's have some fun on this one. All right, we're gonna take a quick break, but we're gonna be right back. But when we come back, we're gonna have some fun. Don't go nowhere. Here we go.
Thanks, Charles. I'm Carolyn Dickinson, and I'm here to tell you that the Life Success Board systems are live. These success boards have massive impact. The system will allow you to be able to envision that anything is possible for every area of your life. It'll give you direction, it'll give you focus, and it'll keep you moving forward. There are 8 success board systems available to you, plus bonuses. So for more information on this amazing system, click the link below. You don't want to miss it. Back to you, Charles.
Hey, it's okay if you're driving or too busy to take notes. Charles has your parachute packed with all the info you need to jump into success. Check out the links section for all the tools you need to land safe. Now, let's keep falling with Charles and his special guest.
Yes, we're back live, and it's time for rapid fire. So what's going to happen is I got 2 minutes on the clock. I'm going to ask you questions. You tell me A, B, C, or D, and I just rapid fire these questions at you. Whatever comes to your mind, you can say, you can explain if you want, but you got 2 minutes on the clock, so you got to make sure that you stay in time. Are you ready?
How many questions?
A, B, C, or D? Which one do you want?
A.
A? All right, here we go. Timer is on the clock. When we start the music, you are ready to go. Here we go. Here we go.
Well, you got the timer going and the music ain't started. Are you cheating?
All right.
I want my time. I need my 15 seconds. It's 20 right, now.
I got you. Here we go. First question. What is your favorite drink?
Water.
When are you most productive?
When I'm under pressure.
What's your inspiration and why?
My family and my purpose, because family, my children are my family, and they've shown me the most love that I've ever experienced in my life. And that feeds into my purpose.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
What's something that's happening in your life now that you're happy about?
Taking the next step and jumping into success, because I've been hiding for a long time. So I feel good that I'm taking the next step to put myself out there.
All right. What's your favorite number and why?
7 or 10. They both have significance in my life. Other than that, I don't really want to. I could go forever with numerology, and I only got.
All right, here we go. 50 seconds. Favorite cake flavor?
Strawberry with the strawberries.
How do you start your day real quick? What do you do?
Probably check Instagram.
What was your worst subject in school?
I really didn't have any worst subjects, but I always hated reading.
All right, and we got 30 seconds. What was your best subject in school?
Math.
There you go.
So I didn't even need all the extra time. I'm good.
Congratulations. You made it through rapid fire. So here's what I'm going to ask you. You said inspiration, the people around you inspire you, what you're doing. Explain that more.
So, because of my childhood, it made me want to be a better parent. When I had children, like when I moved to Atlanta, if I didn't have children by the age of 25, I wanted to go and go to the sperm bank and get artificially inseminated, because I felt like children would love me and, would fulfill the things that I needed. So I ended up getting married and having the children. And now it's kind of still like I went to the sperm bank. So I said that in so they give me inspiration. They really help me see myself, because I see who they are and I see the reflection of myself. So having children made me start wanting to grow. And then I've always been a determined person. So when I first got out of the Army, I wrote the book. And then so it just was the evolution of me. I've always been a writer. I've always talked about spirituality and different things. Like after my mother tried to kill me, I literally was teaching people about things that I understood in the Bible. And I've never been like really deep. It just was something that I was interested in. It was interesting. So that just fuels me. So my goal now is to, as a life coach, I'm a certified life coach. I am a love, sex, and relationship coach. I handle solution focus. I just became a neutral mediator in Georgia. So I like peace, love. But I also am with accountability and responsibility. So that, but it's because I started reflecting on myself and I started trying to figure out, why am I the way I am? When I studied psychology, it changed my worldview of everything. So instead of just taking people for who they are on the surface level, I that's why when I said, when somebody opens up to me, I kind of start putting the pieces together to reflect on why they are the way they are from studying psychology. So that just turned into me wanting to help people, because if I started understanding myself better and living with PTSD from being in the war, it made me want to even know more so that I could, try to not fix myself, but at least know what to do with myself. And I felt like if I was struggling with these things and other people were struggling with these things, and then I would listen to songs on the radio and I'd be like, dang, if they wrote this, then they're going through some, you know what I'm saying? They got some stuff going on. So I started speaking to those type of things, and I realized I kind of have a knack for reading people. I'm very intuitive. So it just made me want to help people even more. So now I literally do Speaking Freedom TV. It's a podcast, but not a video podcast. However, I do I normally drive and be thinking, I used to drive a lot in the Army, going from place to place, or even when I learned how to drive, the little old white man that taught me how to drive in driver's ed, he used to let me go down the back road. Like, we used to just go for hours. So I like to drive and think. So I end up driving, thinking, and talking, and instead of putting the camera on myself, so that I don't want to be the focus point. I want to just be the person that's behind what the focus point is. I want my gift and my work to make room for me, and then I'm just the person that's the vessel. I'm just so happen to be, it's just me. You know what I'm saying?
All right. So then, if that's the case, when, where, why? When did you decide to do the book? Where did you write the book, and why did you write the book?
My first book I started writing when I was in the Army. I used to do, so went to war approximately 6 months after I had knee surgery, my second knee surgery. So when I got there, my legs started hurting because of the sand, and then they put rocks down to keep the sand down. We got into firefights and everything. So when I got back, they ended up sending me home. I got my leave to return on January the 11th of 2004. And when I came home on CQ duty, I was like, man, I'm just going to write a book. And I just started writing it, like here and there, kind of like outlining it. And then when I moved to Atlanta, I started going to school and doing stuff, and I still was trying to write it, but it just wasn't hitting me. And then one day I just sat down and started writing it. It took me like 3 months to write it. It's a 300 and some page book. So that was my first book. And then after that, I was just inspired. So I used to just think of ideals and I would write down ideals. So now I have 4 audiobooks and about faith, and like my experience, what I learned and beta tested from the theories that I was coming up with. And then I have 2 other books, Spiritual Human Behavior. That's my baby. And that is just me. One day I was like, man, I got this theory. When people act like this, it's because of this. And every day I was just coming up with a theory. And over time it developed. So first book, straight out the Army, I was just wanting to write about my life. I went through a lot. And in order to get over it, I kind of was like, if I went through this, God gotta be like, if or what gave me peace is no way that I went through this and I'm not supposed to help somebody with it. If I had to go through all this, somebody got to be affected by it, because I didn't know something's going on.
Somebody got to hear me. Somebody got to pay attention.
Or somebody that's going through this may need help getting through it. Like somebody that could be maybe suicidal, or, want to hurt themselves because they've gone through this, because they don't have love from their mother, or because, they had this struggle, or be out on the street. And if I can show you that you can be intelligent and end up in the street and then avoid the street at the same time, then it gives somebody else hope. So it's more about what I can do for others. I consider myself a vessel now. Like whatever God give me to give you, that's what I'm going to give. And I always feel like if I encounter somebody on any level, it is something that God wants for that person. And I'm just here to be a vessel. Like whatever God is going to give you through this conversation, I believe that I'm not encountering you for just no reason at all.
So then the show is called Jump. When were you in the Army, outside the Army before? When did you decide to jump into your greatness? When did you decide, you know something? Enough's enough. I've been through all my stuff. Here's where I'm going to take control and jump into something different. Because you went through a lot. Okay, let's talk about it. You went through a lot. Most people were like, screw it, I'm done. You know what I mean? The world's against me. This person did this to me. That person did this to me. I can give up and no one can say to me. But you didn't do that. You just went, oh, okay. You know, strap my boots on, go to the next 4 rounds. Like right now, you're a fighter. So this is actually round 12, I think you're at right now. Okay.
Right.
So when did you decide to jump so you can finish, you're in a 15-round match. When did you decide to jump so you can make it to the end?
It wasn't none of that other stuff. I feel like I just now have decided to jump when I decided to really put everything out there for people to consume. Because before, like I was on Instagram and I was writing and I rhyme a lot in my, like naturally, I just have a rhyme type of articulation. So it was getting attention, but I was like telling people like, please don't follow me. Don't like anything. Just do it. Because I didn't want the pressure. And now I've come to a place where I'm comfortable in my own skin enough to be okay with the pressure. I have done a lot of healing, a lot of growing. I had sepsis in 2016 and like almost died. Literally, like the story is very like
up and down, back and forth.
I have gone through more than most people probably will admit, because other people go through stuff. I've just experienced a lot of different things. So now I'm at the point to where I don't want to die. I don't think I'm going to die anytime soon. I never try to speak death over myself, because every person that I respect that has spoken death ends up not living long. Mm-hmm. So I really want to live until I'm like 80 or more, but I don't want to live and be like old and frail and be in pain. If I'm going to live long, I want to live long and be like vibrant, where I'm still like trying to shuck and jive.
Somebody else comes up to you, can get off the porch and throw 2 punches still. You're
right.
Go, right?
Like, come on. I just want to keep out, 1, 2. I don't want to, I've seen a lot of people die. I know a lot of people in jail. I don't want to die or something happen where I can't function at my normal capacity, because for the last 5 years, I've literally been trying to just get back to being able to do regular
Makes
stuff.
Sense. Right.
So I don't want to leave that to my children. I want to impact people's lives now. I don't want to wait anymore. I'm not waiting for nobody's approval. I'm not waiting for nobody to tell me it's okay. I'm not waiting for no man to do it for me. I'm not waiting for no handouts. And the way that I do things, I've done it to where I'm unpurchasable. You cannot offer me some money and tell me, okay, well, now you can't say this or now you can't say that. The way it's built is that no matter who comes or goes, I'm gonna still be me. And it confuses a lot of people because because you out of my life, it doesn't mean I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna dwindle down. So I just took the jump recently when I said I was going to get over my own fears of the anxiety and stress that comes with success, and I'm going to go to the next level.
There you go. All right. Let's have some more fun. Here we go.
Now time for Pick 3.
It's now time for Pick 3. What's going to happen is you're going to pick 3 numbers between 1 and 13. And those are the last 3 questions I asked you before we let you go. But before we get into that, I want to jump back into a statement you made. And it's so true. Being successful is scary. Okay. Taking that next step into your greatness is scary. It's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would be rich. Everybody would be walking around, bling blinging out and having success and, driving some fancy cars and whatever. To get to your greatness, it is scary. The first time you realize what gift God gave you or what you have to do, then you realize, oh crap. Okay, I got this gift. What am I going to do with it? Should I do this with it? Should I do that with it? Okay, no, I won't do it now. Oh, I'll do it next year. And then you keep pushing it back and you're pushing it back. Your opportunity is now. If you have greatness, it's in you. Everybody has it. It's okay to be scared. I've been on radio for over 15 years. 15 years plus. And for me to start my first podcast, it took me over a year because I was scared. Like, who's going to listen to me? Who's going to watch me? Who's going to do this? Not knowing, listen, if you can do that, you can do this. So I just love what you said, that now you found your time. You're ready to jump. Here we go. So congratulations on that. And I got to give you...
Thank you.
Another round of applause. All right, here we go. Pick three. Pick three numbers between 1 and 13.
11, 1, and 10.
11, 1, and 10. All right, here we go. 11, 1, and 10. What are three books you recommend to the audience and why?
I would recommend Spiritual Human Behavior by myself. I would recommend The Faith Collection by myself. And I would recommend the there is a book about emotional intelligence. There's several of them. Most books have several versions of it. Anything that can teach you how to understand your own emotions is a book that I would recommend. Now, the reason why is because Spiritual Human Behavior helps you unlock the defense mechanisms, the band-aids, and the reason why you are the way you are. Sometimes we are who we are, and we just think we just got like that from just by chance. But normally there are a series of experiences that build you into who you are, whether you create walls of defense or not. So Spiritual Human Behavior helps you unlock you, which helps you unlock your purpose. The Faith Collection helps you identify with the workbooks, your strong suits, how to pursue your faith, and how to hear from God. So those books are just a given because not because they're mine, but because they really helped me. I listened to them to edit them, and I was like, well, wait a minute, I needed that right there. I need to make note about that. And then the any book about your emotional intelligence. A lot of times we've been told that we shouldn't feel anything, or we to have an attitude is wrong, and it's not if you need it at times, or like we bottle our emotions. So understanding the emotional intelligence of not just yourself but the world around you, it will change you and your experience in life. So those are the books that are most prominent. Anything that can help you understand the humans around you better, because the more you understand yourself, the more you can be compassionate towards others. If there was a religion that I had, it would be love. And love is just being able to be compassionate to somebody else and accepting them despite if you agree or not. So that's the goal.
Okay. Number 1. What's the one thing you wish you would have known before getting into this type of business or this type of industry?
That I couldn't run from it. I think that even though I've drugged and dragged my feet along this path, is no way to escape it. So I wish I would have known that I couldn't run from it. So I would just take the bull by the horn earlier on instead of allowing things to deter me. Now, in the process, I've grown, I've developed things. Like if I would have started back then, I wouldn't have had 10 books. I wouldn't, it wouldn't be the same narrative that you can see now. You wouldn't see the progression. You would have seen the buildup. And those that were privy to knowing me then saw the buildup. So they are able to look at me and be encouraged. And that is what really my life is about.
Okay. All right. So we got 11. One, and here comes your last one. Number 10. Name 2 people, past or present, that you would love to shadow and why.
I normally say my grandmother, and the reason why is because so she was a community activist, and during her time as a community activist, my uncle was killed by the police, and it was some strange story. She helped Black people get on the police force, and then a Black person killed her son. So it was like, weird. So I would love to know what she do, because she was very tied into the city and helping people, and people relied on her for so much. So I would love to know and see what her experience in life really was, and why I don't want to say why her children turned out the way they did, but like when you know more about a person, you're able to understand how things played out a little bit. The other person is my future husband. I don't think I gotta explain why, but because I want to know him longer. I want us to live together and grow old. So I've been married to my commitment to love and faith for a long time, and I want to share that with somebody. I want to experience God's love through a person.
Okay. And then how do you find that? How do you find that? Do you have a checklist? You're going to run that down? Because a lot of people find things different. You know what I mean? The way you found how to jump, the way you found things different. How do you tell people to find their moment?
You have to evaluate yourself. Once you learn what your gift is, assess your gift. Don't just jump out there because you realize, you know what I'm saying? I do this good. It's okay to do it well and to be natural, because I'm natural at a lot of things. But give yourself time. This is the reason why I don't regret that it has taken time to do this, because I've been able to hone in my skill and understand what I really want to do, instead of being a serial entrepreneur or doing 1,000 different things. Mm-hmm. And now I really don't allow things to take me off my focus. I like real estate, but I'm not doing real estate right now, because it's going to take time to go and do real estate when I need to be focused on what I'm supposed to be doing. So even if I go take a class or learn a little bit about it, if I see that it's going to take me away from me and what I need to do, I can't do it. And I will not put my children on the back burner. So gotcha. A lot of times people will leave their children and go in the industry or do whatever. And a lot of times I don't show up because I don't have no babysitter. So I got to stay home.
All right.
It's the perfect excuse, though.
There you go. So before we let you go, you said it before about the podcast. Tell everybody where they can catch you, listen to you, watch. Where can they find this inspirational, I'm going to call it inspirational drive.
You can find me at speakingfreedomtv.org, speakingfreedom.org. And if you would like to purchase books, you can go to edu-freedom.org, and I am Speaking Freedom on Instagram, Speaking Freedom on Twitter without the G after the on the speaking, because somebody took the name now. I got my trademark in, so I'm just waiting for me to actually get it approved so I can go and yank it back. But Speaking Freedom everywhere.
There you go. Listen, thank you so much for joining us on this show today. It was fun, and you hopefully, people that are going through anything can listen to the story and go, wait a minute. If she can do some WWE in the beginning of her life, and now she's, jumping and doing the greatness, I could think I could do it too. So thank you so much for joining us on this show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, everybody. And remember, it takes time. It's scary. It is scary. Once you find out that you're good at something, your greatness, and you want to jump, take your time. Listen to her story. She could have done it years ago. She's finding out now things happen in her life, and now all the buildup is making her great. You have it too. So thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Has come to an end, but the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like, share, and get involved. Join us next time.
Please be advised that this podcast is meant for educational and informational purposes only and is in no way a replacement for legal or medical advice. The opinions contained within are solely those of the interviewers and interviewees and should be received as so. Those seeking help or advice are encouraged to obtain professional legal.
Hey, hope you had a great time listening to the show. If you think I did a great job, please buy me a coffee. I still got a lot of work to do. We would love to hear from you, your feedback, so please click the link and leave us a review. You can help us grow by following us on all social media platforms and sharing this link. Once again, it's time for you to jump. Success is waiting.